Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Tuesday night, and it is another great night for Game Talk here at the original Next Level Gaming. It is the original Next Level Gaming show. Peter, what's going on, man?
It is, yeah. Well, it's good to have a show after streaming for the past 2 days for like almost 3 hours each. Dead Island 2.
We're
Fantastic
gonna talk about that
game, fantastic, love it. Oh,
we're
man.
gonna get the mini.
Fun.
We're gonna get the mini review from you tonight.
Yeah.
So, and guesting with us tonight, brother back from the dead. He is back again. This time he's alive and here. What's up, man?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on again. It's been playing a lot of different games. Finished the story content in Destiny 2 a while back. So there's not too much going on in there other than to just clean up seasonal challenges. And you can see behind me, I finished my playthrough of Resident Evil 4 in about 29 hours because I spent most of the time exploring, just trying to find every piece of treasure in the game.
All
Had
right,
a blast with that.
Yeah, I actually want to ask you about that, because, hold on. How have you been with the latest Destiny 2 content? There's been, there was rumblings that it wasn't good. There were things wrong. People were up in arms. But you're a Destiny 2 guy. So what's your take on it?
As far as just quality of life improvements, that's about the best thing that the game has going for it right now. Where it's more accessible to new players coming in. They've taken away the affinity from armor, which basically used to limit what kind of mods you could put on your armor. Now it's a much more free system where you can place any mod onto any type of armor. It used to be that your head be the same affinity, solar, void, stasis, or arc. So that aspect is a lot better, and they improved the leveling process much more, especially if you played through the legendary version of the campaign. So that's a lot of great quality of life improvements. The part that people are taking issue with is actually the storyline itself in Lightfall. So
right, okay.
In the previous campaign expansion, Witch Queen, they went a lot more in depth into the origin of the Hive and the main villain that you play against, Savathun. And there was a lot of story included in that campaign that before now you would have had to go onto Bungie's website, and well, actually, it's not even on Bungie's website anymore. There's third-party websites that have lore from the first game, and a chunk of the story, the origin story, was always hidden there, where they actually put that in game for the casual player to experience the history of the Hive more in depth. So everybody thought that was fantastic. Now you come over to Lightfall, and they introduce Callus back into the story, where he's kind of been more in the background, where we interacted with this character in the Red War campaign. That's year 1 of Destiny 2. And he was there for a lot of the 5 Leviathan raids that used to be in the game, and that's a whole nother ball of wax. The fact of vaulting content, kind of like the Disney Vault, where that content's been taken out of the game, and at a later date they might reintroduce it after they bring it up to all the changes they've made over the last 5 years. The problem with Callus is they didn't explain his backstory, so if you're not like me, basically you would have to remember parts of lore over the last 5 years to even understand how terrible this character really is. And so he's the one you were fighting against most of the campaign. You're trying to stop them from unleashing a super weapon on the Traveler, which is where you as a Guardian, the main player of the game, gets your powers. That's kind of where we're at with that whole campaign. And the problem is, Callus has a lot of backstory that's basically the lore was on weapons that you would have gotten from the Leviathan raid back in year 1.
Okay.
And if you didn't understand that, you basically didn't understand that the Callus' story was he was an emperor on his home planet, and he basically tortured the previous layers of the planet to get into power, and then even went so far as he tried to buy his daughter's affection. One of the gifts that he wound up giving her was a dog. Warbeast, basically would have been on their world. It would have been a dog in our, think of a family pet. Callus was so jealous trying to buy his daughter's affection, and his daughter loved this dog so much that he killed the dog because he was so angry. All that story that led up to then his daughter and a group of conspirators overthrow Callus and send him out onto the Leviathan. It's a huge ship that some of the raids take place in year 1. They send him out to space pretty much just to die because they didn't want the people to revolt against him. So all this story is not explained in the game, like I said. Unless you're like myself, you wouldn't know all this story, and so you would think, okay, this is just a guy who's full of himself. He's just pompous. He's got this cool gold armor, and he's just the next person that we have to kill to get to the main overarching villain of the Destiny 2 story, the Witness. So the campaign is very lackluster in the sense that you don't really get the depth of the story that's there in the background. And then some people took issue with the new location that we went to, Neomuna. They think, maybe the graphics aren't really that great. And let's see, what else? For the most part, we still got a ton of guns. We got new exotic armor that goes along with the new subclass that was introduced this season, Strand, which it kind of hard to explain. You kind of have to play the game to feel that out, but much better introduction to where you're seeing that on screen, that green subclass. the hunter would manipulate ropes, and basically can throw a rope dart with the super. The Titan has like 2 Wolverine claws that he can slash at people in his super, and then you've got the Warlock sends out all these little missiles in their strand super. So that's basically another major change that we had Arc, Stasis, Void, and Solar supers, where Stasis, when it was introduced 2 years ago in Beyond Light, it broke a lot of parts of the game. Even in PvP, you would have people being frozen by stasis and sitting there for a long period of time. Whereas Strand, the most annoying thing is you just get strung up into one spot if you're fighting against somebody using it. That there's a way that they can suspend you in the air and just tie it up, but you can still shoot. You're not sitting there waiting to die like stasis where you're just frozen in a spot for 10 seconds. So as far as the new super, how it impacted the game, that's fine. It's mostly all centered around the storyline that people are frustrated about.
Okay.
And there's also some aspects of it where they mentioned difficulty scaling, but when we went and actually tried playing it out, the difficulty scaling has been shifted a lot. One of the most irritating things in endgame content was a modifier called Match Game, where you had to match your gun's element to the enemy shield element. That's a huge improvement, so it doesn't restrict loadout so much. But yeah, it's really about the story at this point where... And then go back to the difficulty scaling really quick. There's points throughout the campaign where they want you to go onto the planet. Well, since the planet is expecting you to be at a certain level, when you start exploring it later on, when you start out, they tell you to go, oh, just go find 3 chests on the planet. That seems really simple. Not when you've got a tank that's 100 power above you, and you get 1 shot repeatedly, and all you're trying to do is go grab a chest. So that's kind of minor. As you progress, your character keeps powering up, and you can get past that. But it, like I said, it's really about the story is the issue people have right now. And even at the end of the campaign, when you finish it, I'm not going to spoil what actually happens for anybody if you want to play it, but the main issue is nothing really changes. You'd think the events at the end of the campaign you think would be a huge change, but what we understand as far as the Destiny lore, how we have our powers, what's going on, the events at the end of the campaign should have been a massive shift in what's going on, and it really isn't. It just seems like they're stalling for time.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That was interesting. You said, like, yeah, if you don't know the lore, then it'll be a little harder to get it, understand things, what's going on. I think even, like, I played Destiny 1 and 2 and some DLC, and even at that point, I had, like, what's really going on, And then you play, like, the DLC, and it's, like, over before you know it, and it's like, okay. I mean, it was...
Right. Well, and by the way, Carlo asked if this was paid DLC or not. Okay, someone's muted on their mic, I'm hearing. Hang on. Wake up, they're muted. Can't hear. Hang on a second. Stupid. All right, hang on. How about now?
Hey.
Test.
You know he's
Maybe?
been talking for like 10 minutes. You guys are just now saying he's muted, or have you been able to hear him the whole time and it just got
maybe
muted?
Just got muted.
All right, because he's been talking for a while.
I think
Yeah.
maybe the last 2 minutes or so.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
It's weird.
Okay, where did I leave off then?
Okay, he said it was just muted for a couple minutes. All right.
Yeah.
That's really bizarre. How in the hell did that happen?
I don't know, but while we're having this issue, DragonHeartYOBY is a member for 22 months. And he says, #peace, love, life.
Yeah.
Thank you for
All
being
right,
a
so-
member.
So to wrap it up, the story is really what people are upset about, and the fact that you can't. Yeah,
there's
you can't.
some minor changes that people are irritated about in Destiny 2. There's some
Okay.
difficulty scaling issues. Even I've got stuff that I would have usually been able to achieve much simpler beforehand is much more difficult the way they changed the scaling in the game at this point. But outside of that, yeah, it mostly hinges around the story, and at this point people are concerned about how this is going to move from this point going forward, and are they going to be able to tell a cohesive story, and what does this mean for basically right now we're in the 9th year of the 10-year plan that Bungie set out on, and what does this mean next year to close up the Light and Dark saga with Final Shape? Can we really expect a better cohesive story going forward? And people are just kind of concerned about the quality of the game at this point.
Okay.
Just pull the plug and create Destiny 3.
Which they've actually already said they are not going to do. They're just going to continuously pour into Destiny 2. I mean, at this point, quite honestly, they should merge Destiny 1 and 2 and just have it be one basically one action MMO instead of having everything so split apart. But that's just my idea.
Okay. Well, I'm going to admit very freely, Destiny is not my jam. So, look, I remember the original Destiny. I remember playing the beta, and then going, and then never playing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's good to get the scoop from you, on what all the hubbub was. But you've almost finished all the way through it, right?
Oh, I finished Lightfall. I finished a while ago, and then the way that seasons work is, for example, right now we're in Season of the Defiance, and that might have finished 2 or 3 weeks ago. Basically, when a major expansion comes out, typically the season that's attached to it isn't that it's not that substantial. Where in seasons in between major expansions have a lot more to them. So yeah, that actually finished up a while ago. What's coming next at this point for this season is on May 2nd, you'll have the Guardian Games event, which will introduce basically the competition that you play different activities and you get medals, and it's more about the competition between the 3 classes in the game: Hunter, Warlock, and Titans. And then you'll also be able to earn guns and loot based on how much you play into the event, or maybe cosmetic items as well that they usually have.
Okay.
So, yeah, but other than that, yeah, mostly this season of Destiny is over with. Like the story content that they would have added is finished. So yeah.
Okay. You know, that's a topic all in for itself. Not for tonight, but for another night. Is seasoned content, and is it you know is everything seems to be going seasoned content, and how good is that for the industry that everything is basically becoming seasons and episodes. So that's for a whole other night.
Yeah.
So
It's an interesting topic.
it is. Now, Peter, we know what you've been doing. We know what you've been playing.
What have I been doing?
I think I know what you've been doing.
Yeah.
I know what you did this week.
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. That's what I've been doing.
Oh.
Earlier. in the
Well,
week.
earlier. That's
'Cause
part
they,
of what you were doing.
had double XP, but then after that it's like Dead Island 2.
Dead Island
And
2.
this game is glorious. Absolutely fantastic. I'm enjoying the zombie slaying and the weapon upgrades you can do. One of my favorite activities is to electrocute the zombies in pools of water, or even like swimming pools, and electrocute your knives. And they have car batteries that you that have, thanks to Dreadpool. I saw him. He had a Dead Island stream earlier today, and you can actually throw
shout
those
out
car
Dread.
batteries and execute those zombies. So I tried it out
Nice.
right before the show. Yeah, it works too. And I like oil barrels and stuff. You can, slash a light on fire and stuff blows up. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, I was
Looks
watching.
great too.
Well,
Always
that's
nice,
yeah.
too.
I was watching, and I kind of got. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of different kind of vibes I get, but because it's a Techland game, obviously Dead Island won. But I actually think this is a hair bit more of a Dying Light kind of vibe, with some Dead Rising weapon crafting.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. But yeah, it's like it plays really well too. It's interesting that it's now in LA. So your map is like a star map. See all the star houses. That's funny. Yeah, the game is so good that last night I was playing, and all of a sudden I look at the clock and it's like, oh snap, we're approaching 1 a.m. and the consequences of late night gaming is morning comes really early. No, but I could have played like all, up to the wee hours, but
Yes, you were, because we were done with Retro Roots at like 12:30, and I'm looking over. He's still playing.
he's still going. Yeah,
He's
I
still
forgot all about
going.
Retro Roots. I thought you had it last week, so I thought you would skip a week, but
Yeah, we skipped last week, so it was this week, which is fine. It's this was a great stream. I was watching it while we were talking. I love stuff like that where you could set traps and just wipe out all kinds of things. This looks like a great game.
Also in the environment where for instance, I was in a hotel and there was like fire, and you see like a fire so you can't go to the next room, but you see like a fire extinguisher like on the other side. So you throw one of your either your weapons or one of those stars, ninja stars that I found. you throw that into the fire extinguisher, and it kind of extinguishes part of your path, so you can get through without burning up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is right at the beginning of the story.
Mhm.
This is
Little sit back and relax.
Yeah, let me move forward a little bit. So are you on an island?
No, I'm in LA.
Okay.
We're in LA. The plane crashed, so now we're right here in LA, and had a whole bunch of story-related quests and side quests, and
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna ask.
a lot
you.
of crafting materials to gather.
Is this an open world? Is this it
pretty much? It's
okay?
You can do any other quest, and you can go to the other parts of the map and come back. And I think you might unlock them based on the story. So I don't know if it's like completely open from the get-go, or you have to. I haven't ventured out that far besides the first 2 map sections, with the second one being the hotel.
Gotcha. And how big is the map?
How big is the map? The total map, or I don't know. I haven't looked too closely. I was like at first, because the map is like you can't zoom in indefinitely. You basically it's subsections, so you see like entire LA kind of thing, and then you have your points. I've only unlocked 2, and then you have your close-up map for for the area that you're playing right now.
So do the side quests add more story content to the game, or are they just kind of like fetch quests where you're just picking up items or supplies?
Right now, it seems to be more like the side quests. The places where you go, they will have they have some unique weapons or different kind of weapons that are hidden and locked away. You have to find like fuses or buy fuses because certain areas are locked that way, or place car batteries in there to generate electricity, or you see some severed cables and you need electricity to get elevators to work. So how do you make it work? So you have to solve those puzzles. But yeah, it's I mean, the main thing is you have to go through the main quest to tell the story and see where it goes.
I mean, it looks great. And
apparently you can integrate it with Alexa too, but I haven't done that yet. So they can yell out.
Really?
Like, I think you can yell at the zombies too. So then they react to noise. I think you can select weapons that way too. Haven't looked into it a whole lot.
I mean, it looks like a fun game. I mean, if it wasn't for Jedi Survivor coming out this weekend,
yeah,
that's where I'm gonna be.
Yeah, same. I had a lot of fun playing Fallen Order, and definitely been looking forward to Jedi Survivor for a while. I picked up the deluxe version of it and just have to pre-install it.
What comes with the pre-install? Like season pass?
Hopefully the game was
I don't know.
the way that the game is. So you guys do know with Jedi Survivor that it literally only has part of the game on the disc. You guys have heard that, right?
Do you have any part on the disc, or is it just here's a code?
It has to download a whole piece of the game.
Yeah, I think I was hearing hearing somebody say even after they installed it, it still needed a 40
Yeah.
gigabyte update.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at I know I saw this where you install it, but there's more to it that gets downloaded. Here we go. Physical copies of Star Wars Jedi Survivor still require digital downloads even though it's single player. So it requires 155 gigs of space on PC. So basically it's too big for a Blu-ray. That's it. It literally says on the box, on the PlayStation 5 box, download required. So we're now getting to the point to where games are getting too big for disc.
Soon they come pre-installed on the expansion cards, and then the games will be like
Yeah,
$300.
Hang on, I'm pulling up since we're talking about that. Hold on, here we go.
Yeah, and it seems like the deluxe version it's added on cosmetics that you'll get, because it looks like there's 3 different cosmetic packs in the game.
Here we go. Players who here it does. Star Wars Jedi Survivor require an internet connection to play. Players who purchase a physical copy of Star Wars Jedi Survivor will be required to connect to the internet to install a day one patch, but can play offline after that if they so choose.
But what if you're on a submarine? You need to have connectivity first.
We got
a 360 for you.
Yeah. So, hey, what's up? So we got Geek Story rolling in.
This is bad for game preservation, though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And things like this. That's why the the publisher needs to have a very good backwards compatible, or at least keep that stuff alive. That's that's why I like the Game Pass and Microsoft and their backwards compatibility stuff. I can still play my old games, but
yeah. Well, and it's Marceau, brother Marceau's in the chat. He says Wing Commander 4 had 6 discs. It was never a problem. Call of Duty had multiple discs. I mean,
yeah, DragonHeartYOBY said it too with Mass Effect 2 had 3 discs.
Yep.
But the thing is, like, discs are expensive in the sense of like they shave every penny they can. So,
which is funny because price of games are going up. So,
yeah.
There is no multiplayer in the game. It's so funny because it's a single player game. It's only a single player game.
Mm-hmm.
So this may also have to be a separate conversation about where we're headed, because that basically, why would you even buy this game on physical at this point? You're not getting it
to get the steelbook.
Oh.
Okay. I guess if
maybe.
All right. Maybe.
I mean, for the most part, I stopped buying physical unless if it's on a better sale than what you can find digitally.
That would be the reason.
For the most part, I just buy digital and even stop going to GameStop early, because before, if you buy something like a game, maybe they'd have some like pre-order thing. Like, I remember one of the Tomb Raiders, I got this like little flashlight that just said, Tomb Raider. think that was for Rise of the Tomb Raider. They had handed those out at GameStop.
Yeah.
So I mean, if there's not something physical to go along with it, then yeah, you're just buying a key that's on disc at that point. So why go buy a physical unless purely for the artwork at that point?
Well, and as Brother Mav says, he can which I can't believe I didn't just think of, if you're gonna trade it in or sell it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brother Yobi says the ones who have crappy internet are gonna be upset. I feel for them, right? What if you don't have the band? I mean,
Yeah, what if your quota is up? Now you have to wait till next month in order to download it.
yeah, or you're out in the middle of basically nowhere and you have crappy satellite internet, right? I mean, there's yep.
That's
Brian
a topic
says,
for a whole other conversation. It's like,
yeah,
why don't they have good internet everywhere?
well, that's a whole other conversation. But Brian says it'll look pretty on your shelf, but maybe unplayable in the future.
Mm-hmm.
How much, right? Which then, how much resale value will that game have? Your audience is limited. You can't.
Yeah.
This is a very new situation.
And that's why I brought up game preservation. That's out the window.
Yeah.
For a lot of games.
So Sir X says are you going to have to wait to play the game until a download? That is, let me bring this window back up because that is the.
Well, why do you think you can pre-download it already?
Well,
because you have to.
Right.
Yes, you
Well,
have to.
so right, but here's the thing. So players who purchase a physical copy will be required to download the day one patch, but can play offline after that if they so choose.
Well, yeah,
so,
because it's just for DRM purposes at that point.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only reason. If you buy it digitally, you still need to connect just for the DRM.
yeah. But as players who purchase the game on a digital storefront will receive the patch with their game download. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if you buy the game physically or buy the game digitally. You can't play it until you get the whole digital thing. And I see where you're going, Jago. Jago says some people don't want to support digital only and take away my options. Plus, my internet isn't the best. So damn digital only BS. People need to stop being lazy and go out and buy a damn copy. That's not the problem here. The problem here is that the game is 155 gigs, and unless you're gonna print multiple discs, which are gonna jack up the price of the game, you don't have it. There's no choice. There's no choice on this. You have to download part of this game to play it because the game is too big. This is where we're going, folks. Bigger games.
Diego says, F all digital only. That garbage needs to go. I think that ship has sailed.
I think that this is
That's long gone.
And
that's
here's
long
another
gone,
thing.
man.
Like for digital games, they're always more expensive. Like than physical will be. Physical, they will have clearances and stuff after. Sometimes after a month, you find a physical disc. Physical media on sale, but digital games, I mean, you're lucky if they discount it by Black Friday,
No, you're at the mercy of EA on this. Because if EA shuts that down, done.
Yeah.
So it's a harder concept than you might think these days, Jago. That's the problem. Is that it's not like the old days. So, not if you play nothing but old games. Hey, amused. So,
yeah.
Speculation
says PC gaming has been like this forever. That's true. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if you can buy any physical PC media, and I think if it does, it's like you put it in there and you still go through like Steam or Uplay and download the game. Who knows? I don't know. Might have been just a URL on it or something.
You can't have bigger games. And then.
Imagine people saying like 8K gaming.
Oh God, yeah. So.
And even looking at my PC, if you buy your own case and build your own PC, where do they even make internal disk drives anymore? Like internal Blu-ray players, or are they externals now? I mean, not many people
like
even like for your desktop.
like the optical optical drives. I don't know.
I mean, how many places even still make them? Because yeah, like you said, everything's gone digital with like Steam Store, GOG, and Epic Game Store, Microsoft Store, all these storefronts for PC players. I mean, there's not even a space to put an internal drive there unless you're putting it in the back of the PC somehow. And at that point, yeah. Like you said, nobody makes games that way anymore. I can't even remember the last time I saw any PC disc. That would have been a long time ago. I think even that would have been before Blu-ray disc at that point.
Yeah. And I mean, even at that. Hey, what's up, brother John? John TJ in the house.
TJ.
No, that's the thing. It again. So you can't. You either your choices are smaller games, higher prices. Because remember, you have to pay for that disc and the pressing. I mean,
But why is physical media still, for consoles still cheaper than the digital equivalent? I know why. Because the CEOs and all those execs, they need fat paychecks.
Oh, this is true.
Paying for not
This
even
true.
like the guys who, were actually modeling and designing the actual game.
But why print 2 discs when you could just download the rest of the content?
Yeah. And charge when it's on sale, still 90% of the MSRP.
Yep.
Instead of less than 50 minus all your other costs. I don't know.
Yeah, and even if you had the entire game on the disc, you would still need a day one patch.
Yes.
It doesn't change that. Even I joked about it before because they were talking about the Retro Renegades. It's like, oh, you can pre-install it. It's like, well, yeah, that's fantastic, but every game at this point needs a day one patch of some sort, and even some of them need multiple patches, in the first few months of launch. So even if they went back to physical to a certain extent, and the game was entirely on the disc, you still need an internet connection to update it.
Even the Nintendo Switch cartridges need patches.
Yeah. It sucks because I remember a time, and I think I've talked about this before. I remember a time when you bought a game and it either worked or it didn't. And
But those were simpler times, Myke.
I know. There's simpler times.
Simpler times.
Blowing into cartridges instead of controllers?
Plugged in.
Yeah.
Well, or at least what came on the disc was right. They didn't have they didn't rush stuff out the door just to make a quota. So I'm just saying it's one of those things. So this will be a great follow-up discussion to have. But yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. 155 gigs. It's almost like at this point becoming as big as the Master Chief Collection. So, which I'm pretty sure you can't buy on physical, right?
No, you could. I'm not sure
Can you?
how easy it'd be to find a copy of it at this point.
Was
With
it physical?
all the-
I guess.
Was it? Because there were things that came on. I don't know. No.
Well,
Nick says, see, now you're making me want to jump on the panel to go into this a bit, Myke, and I don't want you to get around. All right, so you know what? let's table this discussion because I would love to have Nick come on in because Nick built PC. He's I would love to have this
and
talk.
He's an historian.
And he's a historian. So all right, so we will table this. You are correct. The Master Chief Collection is available physical
$30 on Amazon.
Yep. So but it can't all be but it's not the whole game. You still have to download stuff even from that because the only thing that comes on the physical is what was originally there, which is Halo 2, 3, 4.
Not Reach and not
ODST. Right.
Yeah.
So you still have to. You don't have a choice. So. No, I just said. I just said. We just looked it up.
Yeah.
No.
You can get day one patches or patches. And
Nah, if you're too lazy to put a disc in, see, that's.
I don't think it's laziness.
I don't
just
think it's
convenience
laziness
because
at
I
all.
bounce between multiple games.
I mean, you could exactly, and I'm so, that's not how it works anymore. This is the expectation. Not everybody. Sorry, not everybody does that anymore. I like the ability to swap between games quickly. That's why
and what happens if you have your console kind of built in, so it's not as super easily accessible without
yeah.
Go behind your entertainment system, whatever you need to do.
There's
put
a
in
lot
another
more
disc.
a lot more portability in it. You put your games on the little disc.
It's disaster proof.
It's disaster proof.
Unless you get
all right, so let's all right again. Let's table this. let's table this because then so and Sean's going off on Bubsy. So all right. You don't own it now, Scepter. You don't own it when it's physical. I hate to I'm telling you, the world has changed, folks.
Yeah, because if it didn't change, we would still not have visited the moon, and we'd still, ride a horse and buggy.
There you
Maybe
go.
even before that, we didn't even do that.
Well, you wouldn't have to worry about so many car accidents, though. That'd be kind of nice.
Except horse accidents.
Well. All right. Okay. Be nice. Everybody be nice.
Why, are people not being nice? I think people are being nice. Aren't they nice?
Let's take a breath.
Oh, one big happy family.
That's right. Last week was the time for this. All right. So let's get into, so I'm still going to try to keep this night a little shorter than usual because really, the CMA just couldn't just talk today. They couldn't. I'm killing Nick's fun. They couldn't just announce the news today and be done. They had to wait till tomorrow because it's you guys want to be done until 1 a.m. Stop. No, we're not going to 1 a.m.
1 a.m. is I don't know, it's still too early in the UK. 6 a.m. They won't announce that. It's too soon.
No. So we're gonna get this tomorrow, but there's been a bunch of going around news, and some of it's rehashing, which I think is kind of funny, and I don't know why this was getting rehashed today, but I think it's just I don't know. It's the day before. It's like the night before Christmas, right? The day before the CMA, and all through the house.
Not a creature was stirring.
Right. Except for Sony.
Except
Except for Jim Ryan.
No,
Except for Jim Ryan, who's shitting his
Jim
pants.
Ryan.
So there is strong opinion that the CMA tomorrow is going to approve this deal with the behavioral remedies that they have talked to Microsoft about, which basically is, Sony gets to keep Call of Duty.
Well, it might also be some cloud stuff, right?
And some cloud stuff, which I'm not sure.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm curious about it.
It may actually be more the cloud stuff than Call of Duty at this point.
I think so. Because, Microsoft's like, like Oprah Winfrey's like, hey, you get Call of Duty, you get Call of Duty. Look underneath your chair, and even you can get Call of Duty.
You can't be too much of the cloud aspect, because didn't they sign a deal with basically every major cloud service?
Who knows? I don't know. Probably cloud more in general than this Call of Duty, anything related to Call of Duty. So we'll find out tomorrow.
So they are forging ahead. I'm going to bring up...
What about the EU? Is that later this week too? Friday?
That is supposed to be...
I thought it was 27th.
You might be right.
Thursday. I
All
don't know.
right, hang on. Let me find...
28.
Hang on. All right, so this was a new... This
You know
was
what
in
they
the
should do?
New
They should
York
buy
Post.
they should buy Sega. Get rid of the Xbox name called Sega, and there we go. We got a new Master Series X.
What's up, Nate? No, Sega, yeah. New Zealand was next right after the CMA. But New Zealand, I thought New Zealand made their choice. No, it was somebody else made their choice and said okay. And wait a minute, hold on.
Was it South Africa?
South Africa? Yeah,
South
somebody
Africa?
somebody else said yes. So, Rick said you're the bad guy. All right, hold on. What's I don't want to be. Oh, okay. All right. Nobody's buying out Sega. Sega's not for sale, and I know what the thing is.
Everybody is for sale for the right price.
Well, Sega's owned by Sammy, though. I don't know if they're.
Yeah, you buy the whole
So-
thing, bam, and then you sell the rest up. Be done with it.
Well, I don't know that Sega's for sale necessarily. Sega is buying. That is news that we got last week. Sega is buying Rovio, so they will
Yeah.
own Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
Yeah,
All the whole IP that goes, goes with it.
because remember, Sammy owns Sega. Sega owns Atlas.
Yeah,
They're not selling. Sega Sammy Holdings is the whole company that holds both of those together. They are not selling Sega.
What else does the holding hold?
It's just Sega and Sammy. So,
wasn't it also questionable arcade machines?
Hey. Okay, so hold on. So hang on. Let me just let's to clarify for everybody. Sega Sammy is a holding company for our group companies leading with Sega and Sammy. They are still part of the Sega Sammy group. They have not separated in that way. they are both under. They're both under that umbrella. So the Sega side, which is Sega, they're both subsidiaries. So the Sega side is buying Rovio. That's how this is happening. So in order for Sega to be bought, it's got to be bought out of Sega Sammy Holdings. That ain't happening. Just letting people. I know it's a pipe dream. I've had the same pipe dream, to be perfectly honest. Oh, Microsoft should just go ahead and buy Sega too. It's just a dream. It's just a dream. It's not happening. I would not, especially now. So anyway, in fact, here, hold on. There was that was just on the Rovio. So anyway, back to the coming. It was. I got it right here. Oh my goodness! Now, so it would cost $8 billion to buy Sega. But they have to sell. I got your brother Drum, but they've got to want to sell. They're not gonna sell. So and honestly, right now, Microsoft needs to finish this acquisition, which, according to the New York Post, they are doing. They are making plans to complete its $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, despite the Federal Trade Commission's December move to block the deal over antitrust concerns, the Post has learned. Microsoft is feeling optimistic about securing a UK approval for its acquisition, which has been attacked, blah, blah, blah. Here we go. To answer your question, Peter. While approval from the UK's CMA is expected this week, Microsoft is hopeful that a final approval from the European Commission will come next month. So they're looking to. I thought they were always going to try to close this out in June. So sometime in May is when I think they're looking to have the whole European Commission. So
Sir X-Man gave us a super chat of $2. He says, I would rather Xbox buy Crytek, be a better deal. I think what they need to do is buy Warner Brothers.
There you go.
Shebang, including movies and other stuff.
So let's also remember, too, that Sega is, at this point, all intents and purposes, a Japanese company. It wasn't originally. I mean, it kind of was and wasn't, but it's a Japanese company. It's not. That, I think, is a much tougher acquisition than anything else, which is why you haven't heard Microsoft taking any shot at Konami, Capcom. That, Activision Blizzard is a U.S. company. I don't think. The only way they were able to get a Japanese developer was Tango through Bethesda ZeniMax, because ZeniMax owned them. So
if they want, they can make that huge, right?
Yeah.
Expand Tango to be
Tango Sega.
What if Tango buys Sega? There you go.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Hey, what's up, Sai? Says Konami should split off their Hudson properties as Turbo Technologies, and then they could buy Sega and release a mega graphics console with Microsoft OX called Xbonk. So, dude, Sai, I would just want Hudson to come back. That's all I want, is just Hudson Soft to come back. All right, we're getting off topic here.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. So Microsoft is planning to get this thing done. They do not care what the FTC has to say, because they are thinking that the CMA is going to.
Whatever they do, I think the chance of them getting dismantled before this deal is over is greater than Microsoft not buying ABK.
Yeah. I mean, the FTC has been hammered in Congress. So, but here's the thing: is that and I'm trying to find a. Trying to find a good article on it within the past day. Here we go. No, maybe this isn't it. This deal said to give you powers right in big tech. No, that's different. All right. All right. I guess I'll use this one from a site called Xfire. I'd rather use. You know what? No offense, Xfire, but one of the folks who have been tweeting out a bit about this has been Tweaktown. So I'm going to use Tweaktown because they were talking a little bit about this as well. So tomorrow is when they're supposed to give their final deadline, final decision. Experts and pundits largely expect the deal will be approved. And this is reinforced by the CMA's recent decision to remove one of its key theories of harm regarding the Microsoft Activision merger. The CMA had previously asserted that Microsoft had the incentive and ability to foreclose competitor access to major games like the $31 billion Call of Duty franchise, thereby leading to a significant lessening of competition. Blah, blah, blah. However, the CMA has currently one theory of harm left to potentially affect their decision. Okay, they believe that Microsoft could use Activision Blizzard, giving Microsoft an unfair advantage in cloud gaming. However, the company has made even more public deals for the cloud sector, promising to offer Call of Duties and other games to competing services like NVIDIA's GeForce Now and the overseas Boosteroid gaming service. It's believed now that the CMA will require specific behavioral remedies rather than force Microsoft to make a divestiture of Activision Blizzard in order to get the deal approved. So, it's looking like tomorrow is going to be a big day.
One way or the other. All of a sudden.
One way or the other.
Doug. Yeah.
And
let me read this super chat from TJ of $10. That Microsoft said they are not done buying publishers. Hoaglaw was asked if they could buy EA or Take-Two in size. He said they could get one big one and one medium-sized publisher.
So I almost feel like there's coming a point where there's going to be a line where other regulators start going, okay, you guys are big enough.
Mm-hmm.
What they should do is just buy IPs and studios from a publisher.
Yes.
They could do that, right? I mean, here's the thing. What if they don't buy a publisher, but buy all the IPs and the studios that work on those IPs for premium, and then basically the publishers just, okay, we're done, closing up shop. Right? I mean, I'm not a lawyer, very far from it, so I don't know if that would be legally okay.
Well, buying a developer is not the same as buying a publisher. Buying an IP,
right? It's the publisher that's probably the biggest hang-up, right? It's like, oh, you're buying all the publishers. Well, what if you buy everything from the publisher and the publisher doesn't have anything left to publish? So the publisher is closing shop.
So I think is
that a loophole?
Well, there's nothing. I don't believe there's anything that says that Microsoft could not purchase the Call of Duty IP.
Right. Or why don't they go to Ubisoft and say, I'm going to buy the Assassin's Creed IP?
I don't think there's anything anybody could do to stop that. I can't think of a single thing.
Or and here's the thing: what if they would buy EA but leave all the sports franchises separate, like the big ones? I don't know if they would. What's left? It's big.
Yeah,
Or they say, or it will be like MLB The Show, you know.
I mean,
that's now also on Xbox, so it's like, hey, we keep on publishing.
EA bought
FIFA, you name it.
EA bought Codemasters. Nobody said a word about that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they didn't have to worry. I don't think that Bungie had to go through any regulatory to get acquired by Sony. So.
No, TJ
that
with
was...
another $10 super chat. He says, buy
TJ.
all of Warner Brothers and EA is my dream. Save Command and Conqueror and Need for Speed, honestly. But they need to get Crytek, Osobo, IO Interactive, Avalanche, and Team Ninja and certain Infinity. So here's the thing. If they would buy like Warner Brothers, right? With all the IP and all the other stuff for the movies and stuff, they should be able to get that through, right?
They should.
So Xbox doesn't have anything. Sony has movie studios and movie IPs and the whole shebang.
Yeah. I mean,
to me, that should be an easy one.
Yeah. I mean, Marceau says that they buy Activision and EA, Xbox would finally be PlayStation's equal. It's possible. Don't forget, too, we keep focusing on Sony because they're
what
a
about
major...
Embracer?
Right.
Buy stuff from Embracer. You leave the Embracer group as is, just buy everything underneath.
Right. Because remember, Embracer Group is simply a holding company. Embracer Group is not a publisher.
Who publishes their games though?
The different subsidiaries.
Okay.
So remember, they have THQ Nordic, who does all the publishing for them. They have Eidos Montreal. They have Dark Horse Media. They have.
It's too bad they sold. What's it called? Didn't they sell it to Amazon? What's the thing? Crystal Dynamics.
No, they don't. No, they still own Crystal Dynamics.
What's the one that they just sold off? I made they bought it for pennies on the dollar and then sold it off for a lot.
Oh,
the Tomb Raider, wasn't it?
No, hold on. No, no. They sold the rights to publish Tomb Raider. Because Crystal Dynamics is not a.
Okay, so it's.
Yeah, hang on a second. Amazon. Hold on.
Let me
you're
read
right.
the super chat while you're looking it up from Drum TJ with another $5. He says, last super chat, if they buy EA and put everything multi-platform, and if you have Warner Brothers, then you're in another market, much easier to buy publishers.
Right. Okay, here we go. So Amazon Games and Crystal Dynamics announced they had reached an agreement under which Crystal Dynamics will develop a new multi-platform Tomb Raider game with Amazon Games providing full support and publishing the game globally. So they are publishing the game instead of, because Crystal Dynamics is not a publisher, which is why they're helping the initiative with Perfect Dark, and Microsoft is publishing that. So
Amazon did not get any IPs then? Just the publishing rights?
Just the publishing rights.
Okay. So Microsoft could still buy Crystal Dynamics with their IP and the other stuff.
Absolutely could. Just like Embracer bought Crystal Dynamics and all that IP from Square. So just for
they bought that for pennies.
Yep.
Jeez.
I know.
Microsoft, if this whole ABK was done already, then Microsoft could have just swooped in and say like, hey.
Oh. Yeah, so they didn't get the IP. So just for everybody's edification, all they got was publishing rights to publish the new game. They don't own the IP. Crystal Dynamics still owns the IP.
Okay.
So
I thought they got rid of the whole thing. They sold the
that's
whole
what
thing.
I thought too. But and this is before anybody says anything. This is Amazon Games, so this is the official. This is official.
That should be official.
No, and it sounded like they did, Mo. But no, they just got publishing rights. So Sai asks, is there a concern that Call of Duty could suffer under Microsoft's ownership? There have been a lot of people wringing their hands over various IPs like Halo, Hellblade. What do you think? I don't. Well, Halo. Yeah, Halo's a whole different. We talked about Halo last week.
I think the whole ABK would stay separate. Like
I think
Bethesda, they're kind of like on their own too.
Yeah,
it's like this whole thing is gonna be on their own.
Yeah, I don't
Nate
think.
Says, COD is already suffering, and he's not 100% wrong.
Right, but it's still selling like the best.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's still one of the top selling games for the last 20 years.
Now what they did is like they have season passes, and now you can upgrade your season pass to get even more for $30. It's like getting an updated season pass at Hershey Park. Good Lord. Yeah.
No.
And then you have upgrade season passes, and then it's like, oh, you want to have the extra lightning lanes?
I mean, it's a legit question, but I think to Back's point, I don't think they're. Because remember, they're getting Treyarch, and they're getting Sledgehammer, and they're getting Infinity Ward, what's left of Infinity Ward, as part of this. So the development teams are coming in. I don't know that they're going to make much change to the game. I mean, until people stop buying it.
I can see that they have a 2-year cycle instead of
maybe
1 year.
And
I
like
mean, with the season passes, you can keep it going. I mean, they have to create some maps, and they regurgitate their maps and make them work in the later versions. But from a campaign standpoint, it's like.
So Relic says, be prepared for the main IPs from Activision will probably be of less quality once they've been bought out by. So what IPs are we looking at? Because I mean, I don't think I think this is an opportunity for other games like Crash Bandicoot and stuff like that. I don't think that Microsoft's paying $69 billion to.
I mean, ABK prints money. You know, the online stuff, King.
Yep. Don't forget, that's the other.
It's like so much money. It's like that's ridiculous. It's like
that's the other. Here, let me just bring this up again because I think people forget. Activision, Blizzard, Diablo, King, esports, consumer products and media. Esports. Don't forget the esports piece. Their franchises: World of Warcraft, Call of Duty, Diablo, Candy Crush, Hearthstone, Overwatch. And that's just the start of it. I mean, Spyro. Let me see our commitments. Let's see what the games.
But yeah, it was interesting when this all first came out. I didn't really know who King was at that point, and my wife, ironically, is actually the one who told me that they were a mobile developer for Candy Crush.
Yeah.
So I can imagine even some console gamers don't know who they are outside of, just everybody talking about it at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
all of their mobile games.
Yeah, I mean, and just Nate says, how has Bethesda worsened since Microsoft acquired them? They haven't. They're still the same up and down company they were before.
Still crap tester or bug tester or whatever you want to call them, right?
Bug tester, right. But Relic, okay. Relic, the one thing EA doesn't have is Game Pass. And that's why I think, first off, all the Crash Bandicoot games are going into Game Pass. And what a great...
Chief will be, the Master Chief on the box will be replaced with Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. I think you're going to see Crash. I think you're going to see...
Crash, they just came out with a new Crash game, right? Or it's about to come out? Isn't that like a racing
I think
maybe?
so.
Yeah.
Relic, Relic is not a... Relic's not an Xbox hater, dude. We've gamed with him on Xbox. I get what he's saying though, because remember, EA shelved a lot of stuff. There hasn't been a Spyro in a while. It's not a. It is not
outside of the remake.
Outside the remake, it's not a. It is a legitimate. It's legitimate, so,
And also the Crash game is Crash Team Rumble is probably what you're thinking of. That's coming out.
Yeah, I want to.
June 19th.
Oh yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to mainline Crash. I bring me back another good Crash game, and.
Hey, give me some Sierra games, Put them on,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do that.
Because you notice Sierra's not listed in here.
It's not as exciting, probably, for most people.
Oh, here we go. Well, you know what? Here we go. Games. Let me break it up by... All right, so here's all... Tony Hawk, Crash.
Oh, there we go.
Mm-hmm. Which, ironically, I think I remember back when that was just coming out, when they did the Tony Hawk remake. Tony Hawk actually came out and said it wasn't him that didn't want to make the game. It was actually, I'm pretty sure it was more on Activision. He's the one who wanted it to come back.
So now there's an opportunity. So think about it, man. If we get a new Spyro. Now,
what about a new Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
The hero has been missing.
I still want to know. I know we've had this discussion about who owns Sekiro, but it's published by Activision. Does it go in Game Pass? Can From Software stop them from putting it in Game Pass because it is published and distributed by Activision?
Because that's how MLB The Show came, right? On the Game Pass, right? Because
even if it wouldn't automatically go there, you would still have a relationship established with From Software.
No, and right, exactly. I know, Nick. They don't own Sekiro, but Activision is the publisher and distributor.
Make a deal with. Now they have
I think they can make that deal to put this game in Game Pass. From Software can't say no. They've already been paid for the development of the game.
But you could. What if bully Sony says to them like, "Hey, you do that your next game, we're not going to promote this as well on the store. So you better not do any funny stuff at a Game Pass."
They can say that to From Software, and From Software can look at Sony and go, "I don't have any control over this." I don't think From can stop them from doing it.
Yeah, they might have no choice. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy. I still don't know how much it was like. Sure, the body is good versus like the 1,000-pound gorilla in the room. It's. I don't trust Sony for.
No, but the difference is that Square Enix is a third-party developer. Activision is going to be owned by Microsoft.
Well, true.
So,
True.
hang on, you guys.
We do the
Sir X.
super chat from Sir X, man.
Yes.
$2. He says, Activision has 45 years of IPs, can remake some games.
Crispy's in the chat.
Hey, Crispy.
No. The IP is I hear you, Nick, but it's like, so it's the reason that Sunset Overdrive is not on PlayStation, because even though they are owned by Insomniac, the IP is owned by Insomniac. Insomniac has said publicly that Microsoft is the publisher. And if there was to be a remix or remake or anything like that, or what have you, got to talk to Microsoft, at least when it comes to Sunset Overdrive. That I'm curious as to what the deal is, because again, Activision has the rights to publish and distribute this, which means they have technically the right to put it. The From is just a developer. I don't know that they've got. We'll see. We're gonna see.
It'll be interesting.
It will be. So we have Spyro, and I think Spyro is a tailor-made game for Game Pass. I don't think there's.
Yeah.
This would be a crazy game to put, and Toys for Bob.
Here's
developing.
the thing. Do you think they're going to dump them all at once, or do you think it's going to be a curated kind of like, every month they add some more games to the mix?
They pretty much dumped most all of Bethesda.
Yeah, but there are not as many games though.
There aren't.
Well, I mean,
if you just put all the Call of Duties on it, that already eclipses almost Bethesda.
Well, but Bethesda did put. Well, I guess I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, they put every. Good God, look at this: Infinity Ward, Shanghai, High Moon. I forgot they own High Moon. Digital Legends, Beanox, Raven, Treyarch, Sledge. I think they put it all on there. I think they just say. Maps back and
there you go. We doubled our
there we go
catalog.
Yeah, I think they put everything in there at once, because not as many games. I remember all of the Doom games going in at once. I think they do.
Well, not all Doom games came in there at once.
Are you sure?
Some of the older ones, yeah. I think there are like a few missing, and then they added those.
Maybe they were just
could have been
working
some.
on...
Who knows? I don't know. What has to do with
you know what though?
stuff.
I think one of them that they didn't put up right away because they were working on getting it up and running was Doom 64.
Yeah, I think so.
But Doom 1 and 2 was up immediately. Eternal was already in there. The first Doom was already in there.
Hey, let's not forget. Sean mentioned it. A new Pitfall.
I would love a new Pitfall. Oh, would love a new Pitfall. I don't know. To get a new Pitfall would require David Crane, and I'm not sure who owns. I don't know if Activision owns Pitfall anymore. No. So Mav says they rolled them out in waves, but I'm trying to remember if it was because they were working on getting them in, and not that they didn't just want to get them all in at once.
You think they will put the new Diablo in there right away, or do you think they're gonna hold off a little bit? Like, hey.
No, I think Diablo's going in. First. No, I think Diablo's going in because they're putting that out on PlayStation and Steam. They're gonna make them. They're gonna make their money there. And Diablo's going to drive Game Pass subscriptions. I know everybody's talking about Starfield. I know everybody's talking about Call of Duty, but I think people are underestimating the strength of Diablo.
I'm curious about the whole ZeniMax Bethesda thing. Think about this ABK deal.
I bet they're loving it because it takes it.
You think? Well, it kind
I
of
think they're
overshadows them a
loving
little
it.
bit, right?
It does,
Maybe?
but think about the access
Or maybe the
they'll
pressure is
have.
off. Like, oh, if
Well, but think
Starfield
about the.
is not doing so well. We have the
You're right. But think about the access they'll have to those teams at Activision, right? For
Yeah, true.
Getting Treyarch to help with a game or two, right? Or Raven. But the other thing too is, remember, this is all to drive Game Pass, right? It's all to drive Game Pass. Every bit of game, I think, and this has been part of the conversation this week on social media, has been Game Pass, because the journalists can't keep their mouth shut. I'm not getting into that. And so the whole Game Pass thing, I've long been of the mind that Game Pass is one of the greatest things to hit gaming. Mm-hmm. And right now, Game Pass made, what, $1 billion this quarter?
$1 billion.
$1 billion. Think about that. $1 billion this quarter. People aren't seeing that. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. They're not seeing that bit of revenue. Imagine how much it's going to jump when Diablo and Diablo 3, Diablo 4, Call of Duty is all in Game Pass. Think about how, because that's the end game for the non-mobile side, plus all the mobile stuff. So Bethesda gets revenue, right? That's all revenue Bethesda gets to dip into for game creation. This idea that and this is why. So I want to have another discussion about.
Oh, stop! Otherwise, Sir X-Man gets mad again.
I don't want to get yelled at by Sir X.
Super chat. He says everyone forgets about World of Warcraft. Still big.
Yes.
There you have it, Sir
Oh
X.
no, World of Warcraft is coming, and I know you said it earlier. World of Warcraft's coming to PC Game Pass. That's happening. Hey, there's no freaking way that's not happening. StarCraft. They're gonna put StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm and Hearthstone. They're gonna put all that stuff in PC Game Pass, which if you have Ultimate is both. And by the way, what's up, brother? Boogie is in the house, Boogeyman. So the whole thing here is, I want to have another Game Pass discussion.
What's D2R? That too, right?
D2R.
D2R.
I don't know.
Amuse, spell it out. We're getting
yes.
old.
Boogie said he paused his game to be here. So, Sai says,
Diablo
I'd love
2
to see
remake?
Microsoft use the old retro.
2. Sorry.
Yeah, see,
talking about the remake.
Yeah, I'm with Sai. I'd love to see Microsoft use the old retro Activision IPs and do reimagined games like Atari has done. River Raid, Pitfall, Hero Commando. I would love to see that. So, all right. So Sean says Wikipedia says Pitfall is still owned by Activision. They just don't show it on their site. Anyway, I at some point I want to have another conversation about Game Pass because, to be fair, I had a great kind of, I don't know, debate's a strong word. We had a big discussion on Retro Roots a few weeks back about Game Pass and what it means to gamers, but also the potential for it to water down games and things like that, and the hi-fi rush. I keep calling it high def rush. I don't know why. The hi-fi rush conversation, so to speak, kind of spoke to that a little bit, and got everybody's hackles up. See, Game Pass was a blah blah blah. I want to have that conversation a little later, because if they're making $1 billion a quarter, on subscription services, they've got money for their development studios to make games. Period. And it's only
this ABK K deal is final. They will make at least double that.
they'll at least double that.
Triple.
And remember, they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. People that think that they've got to recoup, that they got to somehow recoup their $69 billion. Yes, they do for shareholders, but they're a multi-trillion-dollar company. $69 billion ain't hurting them. So there you go. Game Pass makes them over $3 billion a year, says Yobi. Think about if it makes them double that. If Game Pass becomes a $6 billion a year subscription service for them, that is money that goes back into gaming. That the game quality won't suffer.
If anything, if they can help them optimize the size that Call of Duty is, that would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Because I think it's up to over 200. I think the last time I looked, it was about 250 gigabytes. Which, if we're even talking about a single player game like Jedi Survivor, it's 150. If we're watching Final,
it's like 3 games in one though. You have the campaign, you have the regular multiplayer, and then you have the what's it called?
yeah, and that's a what did I say?
The Battle Royale one. I forgot what it's called.
The Black Ops Cold War and because isn't it
Warzone?
Vanguard, Modern
Here,
Warfare 2,
hang on.
and
Yeah.
Yeah. Here it is.
yeah, which is a whole separate issue that you can't split it
Oops.
apart.
Right.
You don't install like pieces though.
Because I think
Like
that
the campaign, you can even take out each chapter. You can install them separately, I believe.
So, yeah. So Abuse says when Diablo 2 Remastered comes to Game Pass, you must stream it and join me. I will teach you in the ways of hardcore. I'm all down for that. So, stop
Sir
the press.
X-Bam
Stop.
at $2 super chat. There are 70 million regular gold members still.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, if the
Yes.
if the games are right, and for those people in Game Pass, they might switch.
Yeah. So here's all the again. Let's not forget all the King stuff. Candy Crush is not
And
the
you know
only
what?
thing King makes.
You know what? If the Game Pass perks for like Candy Crush are like too good to be true, you might even have people who only play Candy Crush subscribe to Game Pass.
Yeah. And this is why I
to
think
get
they
the
don't
perks.
care about keeping Call of Duty everywhere. It's about Game Pass. Now, I still will say, in my opinion, if you want to give them Diablo, give them Call of Duty, keep Overwatch, let all that be right? But I think you take the smaller, and I don't mean to, I'm not trying to say this to disparage Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. When I say smaller franchises, I mean those are not as mainline as they used to be, thanks to Diablo and Call of Duty. But I think Crash becomes an exclusive franchise for Microsoft.
The mascot.
Yeah, I think that Spyro becomes an exclusive game. I think that you do pick the games that you feel are going to, again, help to solidify your Game Pass subscription. And if you want to put those games out on other on GeForce Go and all that stuff, that's fine. That's not putting them out on PlayStation. I would even, you know what? I'd entertain giving some stuff to Nintendo. But I'd take Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I'd make that an exclusive game. So I'm just saying, this is now we're saying all this, knowing that this still has to happen, right?
Yeah.
This could all come crashing down on us tomorrow.
Tomorrow, like,
So-
no deal.
Yeah, right. Brother Gunter.
And then I have to call their banker.
Yep. So I don't think it's gonna. I think it's gonna go through because of all the deals Microsoft put out. And then the question becomes: is Sony not signing this 10-year deal because the CMA is going to force that deal, and so they don't have to sign one?
Probably.
I think that's what's gonna happen. I think that's the behavioral remedy that the CMA is going to be looking for. Is it doesn't matter what deal you strike, you have to give them that game, which they're not going to care about. They're not going to care about it. So, yep, you can do that, Sir X. I don't think X says Xbox supports keyboard and mouse. You can play World of Warcraft on your console. I don't believe that World of Warcraft is going to make a console version. I don't. I think that is a. I think that's a PC game all the way through. But if they ever did, that is true. So, StarCraft Ghost. I'd love to see StarCraft Ghost get finished, but I'm with Peter. I want Sierra. And Phil Spencer, let me see if I can look it up real quick. Phil Spencer mentioned Sierra when he talked about this. All right, I'm looking something else. Yeah,
well, that's what I said earlier too. New Guitar Hero Xbox. He says Xbox only. That would be sweet. I don't know if it's lucrative to do Xbox only.
Yeah.
You have to strike all those licensing deals with all the artists and stuff. So
I'm gonna bring this in from this was written in by PC Gamer in 2022. Cyrus, this was this actually might partially answer what you said earlier. How you'd like to see.
Septa says no Sony artists.
Right. So Phil says he wants to bring back the Activision Blizzard games he loved as a kid. Oh, here we go. I'll use the source. Hang on, I'll use the source material.
Source.
I don't want to subscribe to the Washington Post. You're lucky I'm reading you at all. I was looking at the IPMS. I mean, let's go, Spencer said. King's Quest. Here's Peter. Guitar Hero. I think I should know this, but I think they got Hexen. Dude, do they have Hexen? Hold on. I thought They might own Hexen, because that's Ravensoft. Oh, I had forgotten it was originally published by id. But maybe. Hold on, I hate looking at Wikipedia, but who owns it?
What kind of game is that? Because I'm not.
It's
familiar
Hexen
with
is
the title.
It uses a Doom engine, so that should tell you.
Okay.
So it was originally published by id and published by GT Interactive. So maybe Bethesda owns it. Somebody else owns it, but they. Oh, well, okay, hold on. And then the same thing. Hexen indeed is an Activision Blizzard property. First-person game about using magic spells. Toys for Bob, so Crash Bandicoot. Spencer said the Xbox team will talk with developers about working on a variety of franchises from the vaults. So here you go, Cy. Let me see if there's anything else in here. I mean, going into the vault, I don't care about any of that. That's what I would love to see. That, I mean, just Peter, he mentioned King's Quest.
Yeah.
Dude, I need
language. It's like,
I need a space quest.
it could have been
and I
buddies.
need a police quest. No. Yep, they do own Prototype, Mav, and True Crime. They own True Crime and Gun. Although I don't know if the developer of True Crime went on. I mean, remember True Crime Hong Kong became Sleeping Dogs, so I don't know if the development studio would still. But man, wouldn't this be awesome if they could pull some of these old, because I mean, you know me, I'm not a Call of Duty guy. I'm really not. You guys hate me all you want. I'm not a Call of Duty guy. But you give me these older IPs, I'll play the hell out of a new Crash Bandicoot. I'll play it. Imagine a new Crash Team Racing, but now with all your other Microsoft characters.
There's Master Chief.
With the Warthog. Imagine, dude, Crash Team Racing with a Warthog. Come on. All right, I'm getting way too excited for this. So anyway, so I hope that answers the question. Skylanders, Boogie. I don't know that I do Skylanders without the toys. I think you need a Skylanders with the toys. Yeah, Sai says you could do a lot with a modern Hexen. And Sir X says, put a poll for Guitar Hero. Oh, POLL. No, I'd do a new Guitar Hero. I think people would love a new Guitar Hero. Hey, brother Bigblock. He said, I hope you're right about making Game Pass better. I don't have much of an Xbox library, so I have Ultimate. Making it a little closer to being Ultimate would great. There's still, I mean, there's so much in Game Pass now. So all this culminates tomorrow.
Yeah.
And
then EU, and after that, then that's a dumb deal.
No.
I mean, then you'll hear every other country follow suit with whatever their decision is.
Yes.
That's probably why New Zealand's postponed it till they, till after
Yeah,
the
and
EU
I'm wondering.
and other stuff.
I'm wondering how much they're part of the the European Commission. So, man, it just sucks that we have to wait till tomorrow, and they didn't do this today.
Well, we can keep the show going for another 6 hours, and we might be getting close.
All right, we can do breaking news.
Breaking news. Breaking news.
Wait, why is Peter and Myke on at 4 a.m? Because they're breaking news. So Nick said it. You thought this would be over tonight. It'll never end. Never.
Nick,
We can just keep the show going, and we just go to bed. We wake up in the morning.
We wake up in the morning and we just pop up. Yes. I'm down here working and doing the show at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right, so we are gonna. I think look. The only other thing that I don't even want to rehash it because it really doesn't matter at this point. I know there was the thing floating around today was about, Sony doing third-party deals to stop them from working with Microsoft. Specifically, okay, that's welcome to, I don't know. I don't care about that. Welcome to exclusivity. It's how it happens. So.
Well, yeah, but I mean, paying for somebody not to put something on this thing, that's
scummy.
Like the Mafia did the same thing.
Mafia?
Yeah, the Mafia.
Oh, the Mafia. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
right.
Not game related.
Right. That's a nice video game developer you got there. It's a shame if something happened to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's only relevant in that, and I'll bring it up. It's only relevant in that I think it bolstered Microsoft's case with the CMA to back them off of the whole idea that Microsoft could foreclose.
Yeah.
You know, this was, and actually I have the original. This was actually Microsoft's argument to the CMA. Let me just bring up the original one. That, you know, in addition to having outright exclusive content, Sony has entered into arrangements with third-party publishers which require the exclusion of Xbox from the set of platforms these publishers can distribute their games on, like Final Fantasy VII Remake, Bloodborne, Final Fantasy 16, and Silent Hill Remastered. Okay. The only thing I will say is, did Microsoft do the same thing, or did they just say, hey, we want the game on our platform for X amount of time or for the life? I guess the difference is that what Microsoft is saying is Final Fantasy is going to go on PC because they can deal with them. Theoretically, they could put it out on GeForce Now. They could put it out on Switch.
This is one thing that Microsoft is missing, right? Streaming PC games to any device, like your Xbox.
That would be very awesome. Imagine. So then, in let me go back to Sir X-Man's comment about mouse and keyboard on console. Imagine if you could play World of Warcraft on console, but you're not playing the original. You're not playing an Xbox version per se. You're streaming it.
Mm-hmm. Now, that would be something.
That could be something.
And once they do that, then who knows? Then Sony will say, like, you cannot have it, so it cannot be streamed on, I don't know, a PC system. I don't know. Maybe then they're done. I don't know if they can do that, because then nobody could stream it.
Yeah.
Not from a Windows store.
Well,
but yeah, I mean, what if they have an agreement with Nvidia and the GeForce Now for PC gaming? You know, saying like, hey, you can have all our catalog, and we use your technology to stream those games to our consoles.
Interesting. Interesting. All right. So tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day.
Tomorrow's the day. So let's swap over, because I don't want to. I'm not gonna be here till 1 a.m. Damn it, Nick. Let's swap
we have 6
to the next.
minutes.
Yes. All right. Let's go.
Then Chris has to go.
Yeah.
No, I just had to grab more water.
Okay. All right. So, Xbox's third quarter numbers. Now, there's gonna be some nuance in here. So let me, again, I want to pull up, I was going to pull up The Verge, but I'm not pulling up The Verge because somebody had to open her mouth. So let's bring up, I don't want to, all right, I'll bring up Windows Central. I mean, it's the closest thing we've got. Okay, so fine. So here's the the kind of long and short of it. Financials for fiscal year 23 quarter 3, Xbox gaming revenue is down 4% year over year. Xbox content and services revenue was up 3% year over year due to growth in Xbox Game Pass. Xbox hardware is down 30% year over year, which Microsoft states is due to console shortages. Sure, I'm buying that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. This was the second strongest quarter 3 ever for Xbox gaming revenue, even though it was down 4%. So there's good and there's bad, I think, in this overall. The gaming revenue being down 4% is driven by the fact that Xbox hardware sales are down 30% from last year. That's still a that's a big number, guys.
I mean, how big is it though? I mean, percentage-wise, it's big, but we don't know what the total number is. What if they only sold 1,000 last year, and now only 300? It's like it's still bad.
It's still bad. Well, is that right?
So I don't know.
I think it's so. I will tell you. I have thoughts on what this says. So last year was the best ever quarter 3 for Xbox in revenue. And this quarter is still the second best. So it's not.
Yeah, you should have seen the stock price went up because people expected worse, and I was like, hey.
Yeah. So I'm not sounding the alarm here by any stretch, right? But I think I think there are some things to look at. So then there was a conference call, and during that call, Satya Nadella said that they did set a record for monthly active users, with revenue from gaming subscriptions reaching almost $1 billion. Lifetime unique users for first-party games reached 500 million players. They confirmed in January of last year, 2022, the Game Pass had 25 million subscribers. So you have to figure if they're up 3% year over year, they're probably 27 million at this point, you think?
Yeah.
So if I'm just doing some rough math, that's almost $4 billion a year. That's a lot of money. So Microsoft has.
But here's the thing too: is they just say Xbox Game Pass, but you don't know what kind of Game Pass subscribers they are, though. They could be just PC Game Pass, PC Pass.
Yep, it could,
yeah.
but that's still revenue.
True.
And look, don't forget, we've gone 2022 and a chunk of 2023 with no real AAA first-party games. And the games that are out having issues, like Halo Infinite. We're getting small games like Pentiment and Hi-Fi Rush. But, we talked Grounded, which was already out there in preview for 2 years.
Yeah,
so we're not getting the big guns, and the first kind of test of this is going to be next week with Redfall, which we beat to death last week. So
yes, you did, and then
and I have no desire to rehash. We have no idea when Forza's coming.
This year.
Maybe.
They said this year. We don't know when. But I doubt it's going to be within their promised 12 months.
Nope. And that's why I said they didn't They said a bunch of games were coming in that 12 months, and well,
yeah. Starfield.
exactly. So, and that's September, and that's gonna be a big game. I mean,
Yes.
that's gonna be a big game. But you know,
Do you think their advertisement is going to be big on that one? Or is it going to be like a little sizzle?
no, I think they're gonna make a full court press for that.
Okay. They should.
But we don't know about Forza. We don't yet know about Hellblade. We don't know about Fable. Perfect Dark. There's a lot of Avowed. So the fact that it's not necessarily a surprise that console sales are down. What are you buying it on the back of? Let's be honest. I mean, let's call it as it is.
Also, not like huge. What's it called? Third-party games where they had the advertisement right for.
Right.
Like Hogwarts Legacy. I mean, yes, people on the street, they might have heard about the game, and it's on PlayStation. They think it's only on PlayStation.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, and plus, I mean, with the Redfall stuff and all this stuff looking better on PC, what is the driver right now to buy a Series X? I'm asking a serious question, knowing that I own one. What's the driver?
I mean, you know, on I think it was on Twitter, we had a discussion about that, like mid-gen refreshes and stuff. And it's like, I don't know if I even want to go that way. At that point, I need to upgrade my PC anyways, and I think it's going to be, I'm probably going to make that a beast instead of investing in another console.
I'm out for a next gen mid-gen refresh.
And it could be for a next gen console. I don't know.
Because if you
still PC,
if you tell me that you need a mid-gen refresh, you are telling me you failed.
Yeah.
Because
I mean, these boxes should be 4K 60. It should be able to do that.
Yeah. And
I mean, it's fine you don't turn ray tracing in it,
Yeah.
Just do
and
that
they're struggling. They're struggling to do it.
Yeah.
So I think I'm willing to look and see what Unreal Engine 5 does.
Yeah.
And what the Creation Engine 2 does, because one of the things was we were talking about whether Starfield was working off of the same engine, and it's not. I mean, it's working on an updated engine, so they do.
Yeah,
they
upgraded the engine to next gen.
Yeah, so hopefully that I'm out for. There's no way. I'm not doing that again. I did it twice. I'm not doing it again. So, there's no driver right now.
Load the expansion storage cards.
They need to do that. I mean, do you think Redfall is a system seller?
No, I mean, definitely not. I mean, but even to that point, I don't think God of War Ragnarok to me is a system seller either. I mean,
Hogwarts is.
Not really into that universe. So for me, it's not. It's not you're not talking about a Forza or a Halo. You're not. I mean, I guess it depends if you look at God of War Ragnarok as far as was that split off DLC just like Miles Morales was, kind of seemed that way, or standalone game. Even when they talked about that they were gonna include what eventually became God of War Ragnarok into the first game, but they said it would be too big. And looking forward, like for PlayStation, you got Spider-Man 2 whenever that's coming out. I mean, you could see that as a system seller. Starfield isn't coming out till later in the year, and hopefully it doesn't get delayed again, because at this point, at least for myself, and anything beyond 3 months, I would almost see still has a chance of getting a delay. I mean, the way they've delayed so many different games across so many developers, you kind of get jaded a little bit at this point that anything isn't really that stable.
Yeah. So Mo says third parties sell systems. I don't know about that. I mean, well, I say that with Call of Duty looming in the background. So, I mean, some third parties sell systems. But I still think that you have to, you still have to have the first party games to complement it. And that's just it. Sony can say, we've got Call of Duty with all of the perks of it. Plus we've got Horizon. Plus we've got Destiny 2 on our system, even though it's on other systems. Plus we've got Spider-Man. Plus we've got God of War. Plus we've got these other games. Microsoft needs to be able to say, because Microsoft had Call of Duty even without the marketing. They still had Call of Duty, but they don't have big games, other games to back them up right now. And Halo is just, let's call it like it is, guys. Halo is not not the Halo that it used to be. And so this is the time in which I can totally understand why sales are down 30%.
Yeah, I definitely get that, because the reason I even picked up a PlayStation 4 Pro was for God of War, Spider-Man, Horizon Zero Dawn. Ironically, I picked up Persona 5 on the PlayStation, but didn't actually play it that much until it came to Xbox, and just played it on a whim for Microsoft points, and look forward to get back into that more. But like you're saying, it had to be a large number of titles to convince anyone to upgrade, or even to invest into an ecosystem that they possibly haven't already. But then again, even on the flip side of that, I mostly got a Series X because actually a friend of mine was able to get it for me, because it was back when they were really scarce. And they actually got it off of a Newegg shuffle. But I originally got the system because of the next-gen patch for Destiny 2. So it is possible something like that could convince you to upgrade. And purely, especially if you go over to a friend's house and you try out, you experience the new speed of being able to do things and load things faster on the newer consoles. Even right now, trying to go back and play my PS4, it's kind of a rough ride when you go back to mechanical drives.
Yeah. Well, and Gunter says Xbox, I feel, is going to reshuffle their tactics after the deal goes through. I think they almost have to. So, I mean, so I asked about Redfall. Obviously, I think Starfield's a system seller. Forza's always been a system seller, in my opinion. Call of Duty will be a system seller in the sense of Game Pass. I think Game Pass, once this deal goes through, will make the system make the Xbox a system seller. So I know we're sounding some doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to, because I mean, I'm not. I think that Microsoft knows that they are in some troubled waters. I think anybody who looks at this from an objective point of view sees Microsoft's got some issues they've got to work out here. They've got, I mean, they're Peter, we talked about it last week. Their communications and their marketing has got to get better, right? This whole Redfall.
They need to step it up.
Yep, this whole Redfall debacle, right? They can, and I want to stress that they can course correct. They're not past any kind of red line where they're doomed. And no, not at all. Their subscription service was up 3% from last year. They're obviously making money. It might not be as much money as they made last year, but they're still making money. We do focus on well, revenue is down from last year, but it's still revenue that they're making hand over fist. But yeah, so sorry, Mo, the chat thing censors cuss words. That's why your second tweet doesn't show up on the screen. But yes, Mo says their marketing is shit, and it is. So, and no, revenue is not.
You can't type shit in the chat anymore?
You can. It won't show up on screen. So, yeah, we could be exactly, Gunter. We could be fans of our favorite gaming platform, but nothing wrong with keeping it real. Revenue is not necessarily profit. No, it's not. But profit.
You have revenue in order to make profit.
Exactly. And I'm pretty sure that they're not hurting for profit. What I would say is that they've got an opportunity. I think they're going to have to weather. I do believe they're going to have to weather the storm on Redfall. They're going to have to hope that enough people haven't been
the game
paying
is
attention.
awesome that people really want to play it.
And maybe we look at it and go, okay, this is, this is totally playable. It's don't know. But I think they may have to weather a little storm with that. And then they look onward to their showcase. And if they can get back people's confidence, then I see no reason Microsoft can't course correct. Sony did a great job of course correcting the PS3 era. Microsoft can absolutely course correct coming into this next, fiscal year is going to be 2024, starting with Starfield. I think they can do it.
Yeah, it should be.
So, all right. And there you have it. Only 11:45. And we've covered everything.
We're 15 minutes over.
We're only 15 minutes over. There you go. Mo says, hey, what's up, Brian? Brian McHenry, it's been years. So Mo says this is the year the 2018 teams show what they got and when they come in. I hope so. This is because we need to see it. It's time to show Fable. It's time to show Perfect Dark and Avowed. It's time to show these games. I mean, I remember, in fact, Mav, if you're still in the chat, you remember when they announced Perfect Dark, because you were on our show when they did it. So, anyhow, so, any other thoughts on this? I did have one other thought, and that is, do we think too that, I mean, does Microsoft care about selling the consoles as much? I mean, they have got PC gamers. They've got Play Anywhere with Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what's the thought on, do they care?
I mean, and there's one thing like saying you do care versus actually caring.
Well, yes. You know, the whole kerfluffle over Hi-Fi Rush, when everybody's thinking, well, this is all about game sales, and that's not Microsoft's game anymore. You know, when Aaron Greenberg has to come out and say, guys, more people are playing this game than you think, and that's helping us. I think people have long. I think people have to change their mentality over game sales.
Yeah.
Because it's not about game sales anymore. It's about that recurring revenue. And the more people play Hi-Fi Rush that get other people to sign up for Game Pass so they can play Hi-Fi Rush, that's recurring revenue. And that's what gets them to $4 to $5 to $6 billion a year in just subscription revenue. I don't think it matters to them if Hi-Fi Rush sells 1 million copies at $30 or $40. I think they care about continuing to get that $15 a month from people for eternity. Because eventually you're gonna make that back and then some. I mean, 4 months, 15, 30, 45, 60. 4 months, and the cost of Hi-Fi Rush is paid for. So I think that people are taking the idea of game sales and going, well, the game was a flop because a journalist who doesn't know what he's talking about says the game's a financial flop. When it's not about selling the game anymore. It's about, and that's why I talked earlier so much about using Crash Bandicoot, using Spyro, using Call of Duty, using Tony Hawk to get people into Game Pass. That's their goal. Because every new subscriber to Game Pass is $15 a month, and they've already sunk the cost in these old games to put in Game Pass. It's not going to cost them $1 billion to create a new Crash Bandicoot. What do you think it'll cost to make a new Crash Bandicoot? Couple mil?
I have no idea.
Good.
Actually, Hi-Fi Rush is a $30 game, so it's only 2 months.
Okay. How much do you think it costs to make Hi-Fi Rush? Just take a guess. Just take a, not even a guess, but take a, just take a shot in the dark of what you think it might have. $1 million?
I mean, even 10 million wouldn't be that bad.
All right. Mo's saying 26 million. You think they really spent 26 million to make Hi-Fi Rush? That seems like a lot.
So I'm trying to
26 million yen.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to remember how much did they make the first Hellblade? How much did they make for? I'm trying to think, was that 10 million?
Maybe.
you're thinking a smaller, like, I know it's not indie, but smaller team developed that. So it wouldn't be, you wouldn't have to incur as much cost as having a full-size studio working on it.
All right, Mo says 10 million. Oh, Mo's taking a guess. Okay, so 10 million. All right, so 10 million. I'm off by 9. So $10 million. That's nothing compared to what they're making. So what? I mean, that's not even. That's a small piece of the $1 billion a quarter they make. Yeah. So it's all about. It really is. It's all about. It's all about getting people into Game Pass. So. All right. Anything else on this? All right. Hearing none. We got anything else? Period.
Yeah, Jedi Survivor in a few days.
On Friday, and we covered that a little earlier with the which apparently got, the chat a little up in arms.
Yep.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered everything then.
Yeah.
So I think we did.
So we'll get out of here before midnight. A record 2 hours and 20 minutes. So, Sai says, keep going, guys. That news will drop soon. Don't give up. I believe in you. Oh, that's funny. So, all right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and then we'll call this a night. And tomorrow, of course, next week, we'll recap whatever happened. We'll talk some Jedi Survivor. I know I'm going to play it. We'll be on.
You better stream it too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you better believe it. I mean, next Tuesday is when Redfall hits, so...
Ooh.
Maybe. Hold on.
Well,
Boogie says...
we might have too much to talk about.
I know.
Maybe not. Depends.
Boogie says, no. Wait. You forgot something. Oh, thanks, brother. Sai. You forgot to keep podcasting until 1 a.m. It's not happening. Not tonight. So... and guys, everybody in the chat, thank you guys so much. I know it got a little heated. I do want to remind people, guys, be good to each other. All right, it's.
Weren't we good to each other now?
Yeah, it's not 1 a.m. One more topic. One more. All right,
maybe we got a little passionate.
Yeah, a little passionate, but let's be careful what we say, guys. Look, words matter. It's something that I think people need to remember. Words matter. And just sometimes you got to take a breath and just say, "Hey, I don't agree with this." That's cool. All right? Be good. You only need to stay up another 4 months straight to get an answer. No, the CMA's answer is coming tomorrow. Once that happens, everything falls into place.
And then the EU, and after that, it's either a done deal or it's a done deal regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, if the CMA says go, that's it. They're done. And Microsoft's already making plans.
The EU has to say. Okay,
I think that's gonna happen.
Probably.
So.
Yeah, after that, then that's a done deal.
Yeah, it's all over, but the shouting. So. All right. So thank you, chat, though, for everybody, and Sergeant Sentinel Gaming. Welcome in, even though you came in towards the end. Welcome in. It's good to see you. Let's see. Tomorrow. Do we have I don't know if we have a Backlog Bastards tomorrow, but we still
have that. Does it still exist?
I think
Or is it
so.
now a 4G QTV?
It is a 4G QTV show very soon. Speaking of which, so we have Go Game Go tomorrow night at 8 and 4G QTV on Thursday, along with They Said We Said Gaming's Behind Them Sticks. Let me check the time because he does kind of go different times. Our brother Rick from Fextra Life is going to be on with Brother Ham on Thursday. That's going to be a fantastic show. Give me 1 second. I want to get the time of this one because he had Lord Cognito on last week and they were on at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So they are on Thursday at 8 o'clock p.m. Make sure you check that show out. Brother Ham is good people. He said, sorry about that. Normally I don't watch podcasts later in the evening. I got you, man. So Brother Rick's going to be on. It's going to be an awesome show. I can't wait. And then Friday is Iconic Video Games Podcast at 8. Saturday morning is the Evercast. And in the evening, it is the Dragon's Den at 6. On Sunday, Flamish Experience at 2 p.m. TXR at 9 p.m. Mondays is Astro Smashed with DJC Game Studios. And then we'll be back here. Papa Pete will be on Tuesday. Retro Renegades will be on Tuesday. And then we'll be back on Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard to talk about all the goings-ons. And there will be the goings-ons, trust me. Back, great to see you. Welcome back on yet again. Where can people find you, my brother?
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Always a great time to hang out with you guys. If you want to find me, you can find my content on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, at BACfromthedead1. I'll have a review for Resident Evil 4 Remake up tomorrow on my YouTube channel.
Nice.
If you want to play some games or chat, you can find me on Xbox and PSN at BACfromthedead1.
Awesome. All right. You know what? I keep always forgetting to ask. Brother Peter, where can they find you?
Well, always Tuesday at 9:30. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, HDK360, as well as on PlayStation, HDK360. On Xbox, you find me on HDK, the only one, because he's in the game. But yeah, and the Switch is collecting dust, so it doesn't matter. Hard to remember those digits anyways, but Steam, Uplay, you name it, it's HDK360.
All right. Of course.
But where can they find you?
For me.
Michael?
Oh, right here, right beside you on Tuesday nights at 9:30. And streaming some other times during the week. I know Friday night will likely be some Jedi Survivor.
So it's not Friday, it's Peter and Myke. It's Friday with
Jedi. Well, because we got to figure out what we're doing on Thursday for our co-op stream.
Yeah. If you had Dead Island, we could have played Dead Island co-op. But...
Don't tempt me.
No, you have to focus on
I do. Well, okay.
So otherwise you have to uninstall it and reinstall it because...
I know, because I don't have enough room. Yeah, that 155 gigs ain't going to install itself. So,
something has to give.
Yes. So you can find me on Twitter at NLGMullis. You could find me on the Atari VCS at NLGMullis. I do play there from time to time. You can also find me on Xbox at StingerNLG, on PlayStation at the original NLG, and on Switch nowhere because I don't play the Switch. I'm trying to think if there's any other places you could find me. And don't forget to follow our...
Berenpluk. Just join the chat. Just right in the nick of time.
Right in the nick of time. Good morning. You could also, don't forget about our NLG Twitter, OG_NL Gaming. You can find all the other things that we tweet out about our other Gamers United Guild members, which are all, by the way, down below. And many of them were in the chat tonight. So please check them out. Please sub to those channels. And well, pick up a controller, get some gaming in. We'll see you next week, possibly earlier. Lay on, gamers.
Game on.
Good night, everyone.